Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This one's gonna be a little bit different. I'm kind of going on this little self journey of I'm gonna call it like a self journey of completion. I know last year 2020 was hard for a lot of people, and a lot of people might have had different kind of struggles. Like some lost their jobs, some struggled financially, others just like health wise or just a sense of insecurity in the world. And that was hard for a lot of people. And I'm not here to say that my year was harder than somebody else's, but it was hard in a different sense. And I've kind of wanted to make this video for a while, just kind of let you guys a little bit inside. And I feel like it's part of my like forgiveness kind of, like you go through things in life where you go through a process and it's hard, but when you come out of it, like, you understand, and you just have to go through it, accept the process, and like learn to forgive and learn to accept what happened. And ultimately you're going to be a better person for it. And I don't know what you believe in, but I believe that through God, through Jesus, there's a purpose in absolutely everything, that nothing happens in vain, nothing is without purpose, that there is a purpose in absolutely everything that God allows or God has laid out for us to experience and do. So I want to share with you guys this journey of forgiveness and completion, and hopefully you stick around with me and we'll go on this journey together, right? Where am I going? Why am I going? So, I'm originally from Chicago. Probably by the sound of my accent, you would have never guessed that. I've been in Alabama since 2011. Right after high school, like literally that same year that I graduated, my dad was called to pastor a church down here in North Alabama, and I didn't really know what I was gonna do in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I decided, to come down with my family. So my parents, my brother, my sister, the five of us, we moved down here to North Alabama, and I've been here since. And growing up in church, my parents always being leaders in church, that's kind of all we know. That's all we know. That's all we know how to do, and that's all we know that we're supposed to be doing, serving God and honoring Him and loving His people. So fast forward from 2011 to 2019, I was with my dad serving at church. I went from everything to, I started off just guitar player. Then I started directing, worship leading, and youth leader, band director, media, everything, all self taught. And there was no one else to do it. So I had to, in Spanish, we say ponerme las pilas, put on the batteries. I don't know if that makes any sense in English, but figure out how to do everything. So, yeah, that's what I was doing. And in 2019, the opportunity came up to open a church in South Alabama, and about 4 hours from our town in North Alabama. So, my dad, he's the one that started going down there like every 2 weeks, and they started seeing that the little Bible study that they were forming was growing. And like the decision was made, like we needed to start a church. We needed to have somewhere for these people to worship, to listen to the word, and grow spiritually, just like what we had up here in North Alabama. So the decision was made, and my wife and I, we prayed. And I mean, I felt like it was the calling. It was the calling from the Lord. It was our time to step up and pastor this new church. So in August of 2019, we started traveling down 4 hours every single weekend. We stayed in hotels every weekend. My wife, she was pregnant at the time, and by December 2019, my son was born. And Just a couple weeks even before he was born, like my wife and I, we were still traveling down here every single weekend to have church on Saturday, to have church on Sunday, and then go back home Sunday night and, go back to work on Monday like nothing happened. We did that for months, and then we kept doing that until about February of 2020. So you see where I'm going with this. February 2020, I finally get a job down South Alabama, and we decided it's time to move. It's time to move and be at our new church town, be there close to the people, and we decided it was time. So, actually, February like 26th, we packed up and we were out the house. We owned a house at the time, and we put it up for sale, and we were out the door within days to be able to start my new job and ultimately be down in South Alabama for our church. And we were here in South Alabama for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And then the pandemic officially hit, I guess. That's when everything started shutting down. And it's so crazy because I remember the Sunday before we had to shut down, like I was preaching and telling the people, we need to have a plan. And I would expect you guys to still support the church, if we had to go virtual and be in attendance online and those kinds of things. And everyone said amen. And like pretty much the next day, I had to shut down. It was crazy. And, we shut down. We stayed shut down for about 2 months. And within those 2 months, some people were just drifting off. I mean, you kind of stop hearing from people, stop accepting your phone calls, your text messages, and you don't know what's going on. You don't know if they just went somewhere else, or you pray that they didn't just stop seeking the Lord altogether, but you just never know what happened. And back in June of 2020, like we were able to come back, open up, and I thought, I thought, man, like we haven't had church in so long. Like people are gonna be so excited and they're gonna be ready to come back and have service, even though it's gonna be a little different with the masks and the social distancing. But that wasn't the case. Like it was so hard for people. I guess I don't know. Like, and I know I'm not the only church. I'm not the only pastor that had to experience that, but it was so hard to get people to come back. And when they did come back, it was just so weird. Like it was almost like something was going on. Like people just didn't. I guess they didn't feel safe, or they didn't feel like as committed. I don't know if it was the time off from church or what it was, but just people weren't the same, and that kind of leads to like just what's the word? I don't even know how to say the word in English, but in Spanish, desanimo. Like you started off really good and you were all in, and then just by people's reactions, you just kind of start. Why am I like putting in so much effort and people aren't responding? And like those kind of thoughts ran through my head. And God bless my wife. She was always like, "No, Chris, you're different. We're different. That's why we're here. We cannot think like that." And we would we would like kind of just like motivate each other and keep each other up, like our spirits up to keep going, because we were by ourselves, and eventually like families started leaving, other families started leaving, and it just was just why are y'all leaving, what's going on, and fast forward to December 2018, I was left with one family left. It was the beginning of December. All these families, the families that we started the church with, they were all gone, and we had one family left, and God bless them, because they actually would drive for an hour and a half away to attend service. So they really they put everyone to shame with their weak, lame excuses. They put them to shame because Even though in the middle of the pandemic, they still drove an hour and a half to church and then an hour and a half back home. And we just had to decide. We had to make the decision, like, what are we doing? Like, what's going on? Do we keep fighting? Do we keep going? Or it was a point where I just felt so lost. Like, like, why did we come down here? Like, I failed. I failed. We failed. And it was hard. It was hard to kind of, like, just think that I failed. And we decided to close the church down. And we went, I'm a school teacher by day, I guess. So right when Christmas, we got off from school for Christmas break, we came back up to North Alabama, to, I guess, our hometown, I guess. Well, my wife is originally from North Alabama, so it is her hometown, I guess. But, well, it's kind of, she's been here since forever, so for her it's her little hometown. But I consider it my hometown too. I don't even bring up that I'm from Chicago anymore, because I don't think anyone would believe me if they heard me talking. But anyways, we came back up, and it was hard to kind of, like, I was embarrassed. I was so embarrassed, like, to come visit my home church, and for people not to know what was going on, but for me to know what was going on. And people would ask, like, oh, hey, how's the church going? And I would just kind of have to be like, it's going, it's going, it's going. But I knew that it was pretty much done. Like, it was done. It was so embarrassing. Or, like, at the end of the year, we always did, like, a huge vigil for to welcome in the new year. And people would ask me, like, hey, like, is your church coming down? We're so excited to see everyone and for all of us to bring in the new year. And I was just like, yeah, maybe, knowing that there was no one left. It was really hard to face all that. And nobody knew what was going on. Just, my wife and I, my parents. So I don't want to say I started becoming bitter, but I started, like, being a little kind of mad, upset. Just a little bit. I'm human still, Like, we put in all this effort. I sold my house. We moved down there. We traveled every single weekend. We were there by ourselves. We did absolutely everything at church. Like, I would get to church. I had to open up the church. I had to make sure it was clean. I had to lead worship. I had to pray for people. I had to preach. And then I had to let everybody, like, tell them, pray for them, bless them, have a good week. And my wife and I were the ones doing everything. She taught. She served when we had food. Like, it was just, like, us two. And it was so, like, what was the point of all this? And this is the part that I feel like why I'm calling it this journey of forgiveness, this journey of completion. Because I know, and I have to believe that with God there is an absolute purpose in everything. And now, from what I'm seeing, it's February something today, February 8th, I think. And I'm on my way down back to South Alabama because, like, I'm still teaching. I moved back to North Alabama last week, and I gave you guys a little tour of my new studio that I'm building, setting up. And I'm still teaching, but thank God they're letting me teach from home, even though all the kids are at school. So it's been an adjustment for the kids. It's been an adjustment for me. And, but we're happy to be back home because all of my family, all of my wife's family's up here in North Alabama. My son, he missed his cousins, and we were down there by ourselves, but we were down there with the objective to grow this church and to be there for the people. And now that we're back up north and people are happy, I remember my dad, he mentioned it one Sunday during service, like, when people thought we were visiting, but in reality, we didn't really have church to go to, so we just decided to come to North Alabama, 4 hours away, just to go to church Sunday morning. My dad told the people, the congregation, like, you know what, guys, like, Chris and my wife's name, her name's Stella. Chris and Stella, they worked hard. They moved. They were gone for pretty much a whole year, but it didn't work out. People just didn't want to support, and they didn't want to, just be part of the church like we thought they were going to be. And they're moving back. And, like, the congregation in my dad's church started clapping when he said that. Like, and I about broke down on stage, like, because I was, for whatever reason, I happened to be on stage when he said that. And I about broke down when they started clapping. And I felt home. I felt home. I felt loved. I felt appreciated. And, I guess as humans, it's kind of what we want to feel. But going back to why I'm going back down to South Alabama, I'm going to go be in my classroom tomorrow. For the past week, I've been kind of virtual, and I'm going back to my classroom tomorrow. I'm going to be in class all day tomorrow with the kids. I'm going to bring some of my stuff back home and, just kind of pop my face here and there. Every couple of weeks, I'll probably be driving down just to still be a face in the building while they still let me teach virtually. But for me, even past that, to me, I need to do this because this is just like my final. It's going to be okay. I understand why this happened, and I want to share with you why I believe this happened. And I don't know what you may be facing. I don't know what you faced last year. Maybe you had a really hard year too. But let me just tell you, and again, I don't know what you believe in, but I just know that with my God, my Jesus, there's absolute purpose in everything that we do. There's purpose in everything that happens to us, and nothing is just for waste. Nothing is just for the heck of it. Everything has a purpose. Everything has meaning. And from what I understand, I was serving with my dad for years, but I never knew what it was like to be a pastor. Like, I had an idea, I know what I saw, but I had absolutely no idea to be in those shoes. So that when it was my turn to be in those shoes, I realized how much I wanted someone to help, how much I wanted at least one person to depend on, so that I wouldn't have to do absolutely everything. Like, I wanted to play guitar, lead worship, preach, but I didn't want to do that all by myself every single service. I wanted to be able to count on at least a couple or somebody, but I didn't have that. And now I'm thinking, man, I felt like I was doing a good job at my dad's church, but nah, there's so much more that my wife and I can offer. There's so much more that we can do. And maybe you've been struggling and you've been feeling alone, or you've been having a difficult time, but just remember that there's purpose in absolutely everything that you do. What is the lesson that you're going to learn? What is that life lesson? And my mom, she has something that she loves to say, and it's kind of like a I told you so, but like it's good to hear. She says, Chris, you better learn your little life lesson, because if you don't learn, you might have to go through it again. And it might not be as easy the next time. It might be harder. So what is that life lesson that you're trying to learn, or that you're supposed to be learning right now? Figure it out. Learn it. Appreciate it. Grow from it. That way you don't have to go through it again. You could grow. You could become a better person by it. And whatever you believe in, I believe in my God. I know that through all this, I have a newfound appreciation, a newfound understanding what it really means to be a leader in the church. And what I wish I had, maybe my dad has felt like that too, and now I know how to fill in those shoes. Like, I know how to fill in those gaps, and I'm gonna be a far better help, a far better support in the church than I've ever been, because I'm just so grateful that I have somewhere to come back home to. And I know that that's my purpose. That was the purpose in all this. I needed to be gone from church for a whole year to become a better leader, to become a better person, to understand that there is purpose in everything that God does, and to just accept things. And like I thought coming down back to South Alabama would be so hard, and that I might be tearful and just kind of like have that knot in your throat. But as I'm talking to you right now, I feel like a weight off my shoulders, because I'm sharing my story with you, and I know God's listening to me as I'm talking, and I'm hoping that through this I can help you. I can help motivate you to just step up and overcome whatever you may be going through, right? Like, I know I usually love talking about cameras, and outside of cameras I love talking about guitars, but I want to motivate you to step up and find what is that life lesson that you're supposed to be learning through your hard moment. Learn it, love it, appreciate it, and I promise you, you're going to become a better person once you understand and pass that little trial. Don't give up. Be strong. Keep fighting. Keep doing what you got to do. Keep loving what you do. And if you don't know Jesus, if you don't have him as your Savior, I promise you, he is the only way. He is the one that's going to give you purpose in life and going to help guide you through those purposes, through those obstacles, through those things that come your way. There's a verse that says, give him your thoughts and he will straighten your path. And I believe that. I believe that. I'm like, God, this is what I want to do. God, this is what I'm hoping to accomplish. And he's going to straighten your path. Maybe it is the right direction and he's going to point you in it. Maybe it's the complete wrong direction. He's going to help fix it. But that's that difference, having that hope. So if you don't know God, if you don't know Jesus, I invite you to accept him into your life and start having a relationship with him. And maybe one day you'll be able to talk about a hardship and you'll be like, hey, this absolutely makes no sense to the world, but I and God, we know why this happened, and this is what came out from it, right? So I still got a long way to go. I've got about 3 hours looking at my GPS. And I know this was a pretty long video, but like really long. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, alright? We'll get back to camera stuff, right? But thanks for letting me open up. And I love YouTube. I love everything that I can learn from YouTube. And the whole point why I even started this channel was because there's so much that I want to talk about, but I don't have a bunch of gear nerds around me to talk about it with, so I just talk to myself in the camera. And now through this, with this life experience, maybe I don't have like a very close best friend that I could sit down with and talk about this with, but just me and the camera. And I hope you can learn something from this video as well, alright? I'll see you in the next one. God bless, stay safe, stay positive, and know that tomorrow is a new day, and there's going to be always a new opportunity for improvement, alright? I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.